Bedtime Stories. Usborne, illustrated stories for bedtime. Danny the Dragon. On the edge of some deep dark woods, beside a tiny village, lived a bright green dragon named Danny. Some dragons are scary, but not Danny. Each morning, he wandered down to the village to greet his friends as they shopped in the market. Everyone was used to seeing the friendly dragon around the place, so they didn't bat an eyelid. Danny liked to help the villagers whenever he could, and he had one particular talent that he put to good use. Every night, he visited each house in the village. Joe's cottage was first. Danny leaned over his friend's fireplace. Then, whoosh! With one blast from Danny's fiery breath, the old man's fire crackled to life. Next stop was Peg and her family. With Danny's help, their dinner was cooked in no time. At Sam's house, Danny was able to light 3 candles all at once. In an instant, the entire room was aglow. Once he'd visited everyone, Danny could go back to his house in the woods, feeling happy with himself. One day, a brightly painted wagon trundled into the village. It was driven by a tall stranger in fancy clothes. "Roll up! Roll up!" cried the man. "Come on and buy Mr. Marvo's magic fire sticks. Only a penny each." The villagers had never seen magic fire sticks before. They gathered around excitedly as Mr. Marvo unloaded his wagon. "What do they do?" asked Joe. "Allow me to demonstrate," said Mr. Marvo. "Stand back, ladies and gentlemen, and prepare to be amazed." Mr. Marvo grabbed a fire stick and aimed it at a pile of logs. Next second, a jet of magical stars shot out. "They light your fires when you're cold," he cried. Whoosh! Incredible! "That's not all," added Mr. Marvo. "When you're hungry, they can cook your food." Whoosh! Unbelievable! "And they can light your candles when it gets dark," declared the salesman, as the bolt of blue stars whistled around the street lamp. "My magnificent magical fire sticks make life easy." Whoosh! Wonderful! The villagers were impressed. They took out their money and searched around Mr. Marvo's wagon. In less than 5 minutes, Mr. Marvo's entire stock of fire sticks was sold out. Danny knew nothing about what had happened that day. As night fell, he trotted into the village as usual. He went to Joe's cottage and popped his head through the door. "Shall I light your fire?" he asked. "No, thanks, Danny," replied the old man. "I've got these new-fangled magic fire sticks now. I don't need a dragon anymore." Okay," said Danny. He didn't know what else to say, so he left Joe and walked along the street. "I'm sure Peg will need my help," he thought. He knocked on Peg's door. As it opened, a spicy, tasty smell wafted out into the night air. "Evening, Peg," said Danny. "Shall I cook your supper?" "Not tonight, thanks, Danny," replied Peg. "The sausages are already cooked, and the wild boar is on its way." Magic fire sticks again? Sighed Danny as he left Peg to her meal. Oh well, perhaps Sam still needs me. He plodded up to Sam's house and gently rattled the door handle. I don't suppose you have any candles that need lighting, Sam? Asked Danny as his old friend appeared. Sam's reply came as no surprise. Sorry, Danny, he said. This magic fire stick did the job tonight. Why not try one of the other villagers? Someone's bound to need your help. But it was same story as every house. Everybody had Mr. Marvel's magic fire sticks. Nobody needed Danny's fire-breathing skills. No one wants me anymore, sniffed Danny sadly as he slowly headed home. Maybe I won't bother to visit the village again, he thought to himself. He trudged back to his tumble-down home in the woods and tried not to cry. Meanwhile, on the other side of the village, a band of robbers was passing by. That looks a likely spot for rich pickings, smirked Knuckles, their leader. They noticed the wisps of smoke coming from the chimneys. Look, somewhere to warm our freezing bones, said Toothy. They saw the bright lights streaming through the windows, and plenty of candles to brighten up our gloomy hideout, said Stinker. Then they smelled sizzling sausages. And lots of yummy grub for our rumbling tummies, sighed Nosy. What are we waiting for? Cried Knuckles. Charge! The gang raced down the hill and stormed into the village. Then they split up and marched their way into the locals' homes. No one was safe. Step aside, Grandpa! Cried Knuckles, pushing Joe away from his fire. We need this more than you, chuckled Nosy, warming his hands. You big bullies, croaked Joe. Grubs up, yelled Toothy as he shoved Peg's family away from their supper. Time you all went on a diet, laughed Stinker. You greedy thieves, cried Peg. Keep your pooch out of our way, shouted Wrinkly as Tubbs stuffed Sam's candles into a sack. Hope you're not scared of the dark, mister, laughed Tubbs. The robbers went from house to house, causing chaos. Who can help us? Cried the villagers. Yikes, not me, squeaked Mr. Marvel pathetically, and he ran out of the village as fast as he could. In the woods, Danny woke with a start. He heard the cries of the villagers in the distance. Somebody help! They called desperately. Save us from the robbers! Quick as a flash, Danny thundered into the village. He soon spotted the thieves with their plunder. Hee! Chortled Toothy. That was a good night's work. Danny rushed up to Toothy and Wrinkly. Before they knew what was happening, he set their beards alight. The dragon! Yowled Toothy, as his filthy beard went up in flames. Danny let out a stream of fire, and Tubbs and Nosy found their toes toasted. Help! Wailed Tubbs, as his shoe burst into flames in front of him. Stinker and Knuckles made a run for it, but Danny was too quick for them. He took a deep breath and blasted their bottoms. The gang sprinted out of the village in a cloud of smoke. Don't let the dragon get us! They pleaded. The crooks disappeared over the horizon and were never seen again. Thank you, Danny, said Joe. We didn't realize how much we needed you. 3 cheers for Danny, cried Peg. The thankful villagers gave Danny his job back, and they found a much better use for Mr. Marvo's magic sticks. Usborne, Illustrated Stories for Bedtime. Danny the Dragon.